So really good to speak to you, Tony. Whilst I'm undoubtedly a massive York City supporter and I've been for many years, I went to University of Middlesbrough in the early noughties and saw many Borough games that you played in. It was a great time to be in the town with a Carling Cup win and then going on to sort of European success. And in 2004, you also captained the youth team to the FA Youth Cup. And I know you went on to play in the Premier League and in Europe, but that must be up there one of your sort of best memories in football.
Yeah, definitely. If you look back at the time now I've retired, I look back and you look back on them youth team days and they were great days. Like I was playing in the academy with all my mates really. We were together for a long time. We had a great team. Obviously some individual players who went on to play lots and lots of games in the Premier League, but we had a togetherness that it was just a group of mates who wanted each other to do well. And the first year we went into the building full time. We got to the Youth Cup final. We lost that year, but we had massive belief and massive togetherness that we were going to go on and win it the next year. And that's exactly what we did. A group of mates who still to this day, we're all mates, we're all stick together, helping each other. Now we've all gone down a different career paths, and looking back, it was great times, and it was the catalyst for a lot of us to kick on. It was that year that we were successful in our youth team and we were kicking on to the next level of trying to get in the first team then.
And I remember the crowd for the Aston Villa game in the second leg, it was sort of like 16, 17,000. And a few years later under Gordon Strachan, they were kind of getting that for championship games. So it must have been a fantastic experience for you at that age to be playing in front of a big crowd like that.
Yeah, it was. It obviously came on the back of the Carling Cup success. The first team were doing well and the youth team were then doing well. That was the kickstart of a lot of us breaking in that year of 2004. Like, you look back, there's a lot of us made our debuts in that year. Obviously, one being myself, and I could name the names of the lads that come through. James Morrison, we made our debut on the same day. He's a best friend of mine, and we were in the academy from 12 years old, and we went all the way through to make our debuts on the same day. So looking back, it great memories. Adam Johnson, Stewie Downing in the first year, and people like that, superstars really, who went on to play lots and lots of games in the Premier League. Lee Cattermole had an unbelievable career. Andrew Taylor, David Wheater. The list is endless of lads that went on to have unbelievable careers. And it was that year of breaking in 2004 was a great year for Middlesbrough's first team, winning the Carling Cup, Middlesbrough's youth team, and then we all kicked in and started kicking on after that.
And you mentioned that kind of first game that you and James Morrison played in, and I think your dream was always to play in one Premier League game, but as debuts go, yours was pretty special away at Old Trafford at Manchester United, and you were marking Ryan Giggs. What do you remember about that game, and when did you find out you were playing?
Me and James had obviously travelled with the first team quite a bit, and we hadn't played. James made his debut in Europe the week before, and scored obviously the first goal for Middlesbrough in Europe, which was special for him. And then we hadn't made our Premier League debuts, which obviously travelled to Man United, and there was rumours that we were going to play, but we weren't sure if we were both going to start. We both roomed together, we were both roommates, and we had the night. We planned like we always do. Two young lads living the dream. We're messing about, and come 1:15, I think it was, we had a meeting just before we were about to leave, and Steve McLaren pulled us both, and he just said, like, listen, you've played together, both starting today. You know each other inside out. You put it right back. He's right midfield. You know each other, play, go and enjoy it. And we both just looked at each other and were like, wow, we're both starting. And that was it really. We went to the game, we prepared, and I remember standing in the tunnel at Old Trafford. Obviously I was a Man United fan growing up as well, and I'm looking across the line at my heroes. People I watched. Ryan Giggs was a hero of mine. And I'm looking at their lineup going, Jesus Christ. And I remember Chris Riggott tapped me on the back of the head and he's like, come on now, time to tune in, it's game time now. And that was it. From that moment, it was blinkers on. It was game time. We got an unbelievable result. 1-1 away at Old Trafford on your debut is special. And I've still got the big man of the match bottles of champagne, what I got as well. So yeah, special time. Now you got a chance to look back. You mentioned that I only ever wanted to play one game, and I managed to go and play, I don't know how many games, but I went on to play in the Premier League, some big European nights as well, which was special times.
Yeah, and obviously back then, it wasn't like now where quite a lot of clubs will go to Old Trafford and fancy themselves to get a result. I mean, back then it was kind of like people were beat before they even got there, weren't they? So for two young lads to make the debut that day is pretty incredible to come away with that result.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And obviously James set up the goal for Stewie Downing as well. So we were fully involved in the game. It was class. The local lad Stewie popped up and he got the goal, and then thought we were going to go on to win it. And then Alan Smith equalised late on for Man United, and it was an unbelievable debut, and one that now I can look back on and show my kids and mention it to my kids. And my lad's at a good age now where he loves his football. He's 15 and he looks back and clips on YouTube of me playing and stuff like that. He loves it.
I mean, your early career had so many highlights, didn't it? You mentioned winning the Youth Cup, but playing in the first team, and you also played for England under 16s, 17s, and 19s as well. But also, I sort of vaguely remember Alan Hansen on Match of the Day picking you out one week. I might have been Charlton away. My memory might be terrible. I might be off the mark there, but that must have been really surreal. Sat watching Match of the Day at home, and then Alan Hansen's doing a full feature on you for his analysis.
Yeah, I still remember it was like yesterday. I remember being at home with my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time, Lindsay, who we've been together since 15, and we were at my mum and dad's house, and it was just routine every Saturday night we used to watch it, and there I was, like, I'm getting highlighted on Match of the Day by Alan Hansen. It was like, wow. I remember my mum and dad shouting up like, Tony. I was like, I heard. It was unbelievable times, and stuff like that is special. Like when you do look back to get highlighted on Match of the Day. Every young kid watched Match of the Day religiously week in, week out, and like we were no different. And there I was, just a young kid from Evenwood getting highlighted on Match of the Day. It was unbelievable.
And I was lucky enough to get to quite a lot of those sort of European nights at the Riverside. Thinking people who've listened to my York City podcast for years will be thinking, wow, I didn't realise you had a second team, but they were some of the best atmospheres I think I've ever been to in football, and you were lucky enough to play in them. I mean, where does sort of beating Lazio rank for you in your career? Because that was a special night, and you played the whole game, I think, that night.
That was the standout game, definitely at the Riverside for me. I remember it. It was electric that night. The atmosphere was something I've never witnessed before at the Riverside. It was absolutely bouncing from the build-up to it. It was just unbelievable night, and we went on to beat them. But I didn't at the time. I just you just turn up, don't you? You just play the game, and then now you look back and you beat Lazio at home when Lazio were a proper side and full house at the Riverside, and there I was, an 18-year-old lad playing that game. It was class. Great memories looking back. Them nights were them European nights, like you've mentioned some of them, Stoyer and people like the games were just another level. I'd love to see Middlesbrough get back to them heights. Obviously, it's a team I follow closely and always close to my heart with the opportunity what they give me in football, and I'd love to see them nights again back at the Riverside.
And you played over 100 times for Middlesbrough, but you had rotten luck with injuries, and I think you broke your leg twice. And how did those injuries affect you? Do you ever sort of look back and think what might have been without them sort of curtailing your progress?
No, I don't really. I never look back and think, I could have stayed injury free or what. I loved every minute of playing, and all I wanted to do was play football. And when I set out, I always said I just wanted one game in the Premier League for Middlesbrough. When I was a young boy, I signed for them. Well, that was all my aim, and I went on to do that. And I don't look back with any regrets on my career. I maximised it. I enjoyed every minute of it, and I always look back and say I worked hard and I give everything. And my career ended up where I ended up. I look back and it as a success, and I don't really look back with any negatives, because it was all a young boy's dream, is just to play football, and I managed to live that dream.
Yeah, and you went on to play for the likes of, Sheff Wednesday, Sheff United, you captained Blackpool in the Championship. You played at Wembley for Bradford City, so like you say, you packed a lot into your playing career. You must look back with a lot of pride.
Yeah, I do now. Yeah, at the time you just play the games, you just get on with it, and you just go on with it. And when you do look back, I like I say, I don't have no regrets in my career. I ended up playing for some good football clubs. I met a lot of good people, a lot of good players, and I look back and now they're my friends, and I stayed in touch with a lot of people that I played with, and have a good relationship with a lot of them. James Morrison, who's my best friend. Andrew Taylor now works at Leeds, who I speak to regular. Lee Cattermole, people like that who I met, and then I've obviously got friends who I met at other clubs and I'm really close to, and I look back with a smile on my face, because I enjoyed every second of it, and I maximised it purely through hard work.
And you arrived at York City in March 2023 alongside Mikey Morton. It was a strange time at the club, really, given John Askey was doing well, David Webb came in and couldn't quite get results. York were then battling against sort of going straight back down. How did that job come up, and what did you know about York City before then?
I was on the back of the sacking from Scunthorpe, actually. I was assistant manager there, and we just lost our jobs, and I was at home, wasn't really doing much. I was looking for that next opportunity, and a friend of mine who I played with, Matt Kilgallen, he called me. Mikey had just got the job. I didn't know Mikey, but he just got it on a temporary basis, and he didn't have anyone in with him. And Killer just called me and said, would you be interested in going in to help him? I said, well, yeah. I said, I'm not doing anything. I said, I don't know him, but I'll go in and help him out. And so Mikey called me. Killer set that up. Mikey called me, and I went in, had a chat with him, and just hit off straight away. And he was an unbelievable fella. brilliant on the grass, and he can look back at that season, a very, very difficult season, like he's mentioned, for York, and he did an unbelievable job to keep the team in the league. And he asked me to come on board then in the summer when he announced as permanent manager. He asked me to stay on with him, and I didn't have any hesitations because I enjoyed my time and I enjoyed working with him. He's someone I still speak to more than anyone. I would love to work with him again because he was a good bloke, but I learned a lot from him on and off the grass, and he would probably say the same to me. It was quite a good match. He can look back on his time as a success at York City, definitely, by keeping them in the league that season.
How big was that job when you went? Was it bigger than you kind of realised when you sort of first went to chat with Mikey?
Yeah, you don't realise, obviously, from the outside. York's always looked a good club. It had been through, just lost another manager. Mikey had went in with no real experience. I'd just come on the back of being at Scunthorpe and went in to help him out. He didn't know how long it was going to be for. He didn't know if it was going to be one game, 1 week, 1 month. He was just taking game by game. And then I remember Glenn coming saying, like, sit down with us and said, like, I want you to take the team. Do you feel confident? And Mikey straight away, Mikey being Mikey, yeah, loved York, was a York fan, and yeah, definitely I want to take the job. I want the job of keeping York City in the league, and he did an unbelievable job because it was a difficult job. There was a lot to deal with inside of the club, a big squad, so you had to try and keep everyone happy, try and keep everyone on board, and the ultimate aim was definitely to keep the team in the league. And like I say, he done that, and we had some good results on the way. We had some knocks, had some bad results, but he got a real togetherness with the staff, with the players, and we got the job done.
Yeah, and it's mad really when I look back, and it's only 2023 that you came in, because it feels like you've been part of the fabric for quite a long time, to be honest. I say that as a compliment. But you've seen quite a lot of change in your short time at the club. Is this the most stable you think it's been since you've been there?
Oh, 100%. This is the most stable, yeah, definitely. I've seen a lot of change. I've seen a few managers now come and go, and we've got a brilliant manager in place at the minute. We've got a really good squad that we built, and we've got a real good togetherness. If you ever want to come down to the training ground, you'll see that the staff are together, the players are all together, and it's quite refreshing, really, because obviously I've seen a lot of change, a lot of players coming and going, but this squad at the minute is the most settled and on and off the pitch that I've seen in my time at York. It's exciting times now. We've managed to get a real structure in place now that can build upon, and had a good start. And that's all it is, just a good start, but it's building blocks to build something special to hopefully bounce up the leagues.
And Matt Ugler obviously appointed you as director of football. What was your first impressions of Matt when he first came into the club? Because you'd not been there with Glenn that long, and he'd not been in the club that long himself, and then Matt comes along. What was your first impressions of Matt?
So yeah, the chairman obviously first came in, and then a lot of players came in. It was all a bit rushed at the time. Players were coming in, players were going, and then we ended up with a really big squad. On its own is hard to manage, but he wanted the best interest of York straight away, and it takes time. It does take time, and obviously you've seen the changes throughout the last 12 months of players coming and going. It's important that you get it right, and obviously we've made some mistakes along the way. Obviously I'm involved in that because I was part of the coaching staff as well. So we've learned from that, and we looked upon this summer just gone as a bit of a reset, and we start again and we get things in place. We have a real structure now of how we do things, and I think we're in a really good place at the minute to really be successful and to build something really good at York.
Yeah, definitely. And Matt said that you were instrumental in the changes in the summer. What did he mean by that? Was that getting players out the door, or getting them in, or both, or was it nothing to do with that?
We sat down in the summer and we identified like how we want to do it, how we want it to look, and we had players that we needed to move on. We had players that we wanted to bring in. I have an unbelievable relationship with the owners. When they asked me to be director of football, I was honoured. I was honoured that they asked me to take such a big role at the club, and it was one that I didn't hesitate to take because I want this club to be successful. I've been involved in the rough times of the last 12 months, and when he asked me to take it, it was no hesitation to take it. But like, go back to your question, it was the ins and outs, the players going out, the players coming in. But the communication between the management, the staff, everyone was involved in it. And I think can't just be saying, oh, it's all me, because I will never take the credit. It's a collective thing with the owners, with the management team, myself. We're all fully involved now of how we do things, and touch wood, we've had a good start. There's a real structure, there's a real togetherness of what we're trying to do, and we're trying to be successful, and I think we're on the right path.
And what does director of football mean? What does it involve day to day for you? What's your standard kind of week look like?
Well, that's the thing. At the minute, it's all new. I'm learning as well. I've spoke to people to try and see how they do things. I'm a hard-working lad. I know the chairman will laugh when I say this, but I'm an honest lad as well. I'm a hard working and I won't shy away from anything. And I'm eager to learn from different people in different roles. I've spoke to a lot of people on how they do it. The day-to-day is like making sure everyone's together, doing the ins and outs still, because there's lads going out on loan, in the background, trying to improve everything. The academy, how do we look at the academy to try and produce players? I obviously came through in a successful academy. I would love to, and I'm sure the fans would love to see some homegrown talent coming through. And things like that, really, of how the day-to-day running of the football club and how we make it better in every department, not just the football side of it.
And last season, we obviously had a lot of, I think Matt admitted this to me, there was a lot of agents kind of throwing players at York City. And I like to think there's more of a plan to kind of stop that, or a bit of a filter to kind of see if these players are good enough. But now we're sort of nearer the top of the table. Do you find more players are being offered to York City, or a better calibre?
Yeah, that's an agent's job. That won't change. The agents will always put players in. My phone is non-stop now with agents ringing up, putting players in left, right and centre. And there's much more of a process behind it. We sit down, we look through them, and that is part of the day-to-day as well of watching players go out to games, watch games and stuff like that is the day-to-day running of it. There's a real structure now behind how we recruit. If you look at our recruitment in the summer, we've not overspent. We've got good players in, but more important, we've got good people in as well who want to come with us on this journey and want to be part of a successful team. And touch wood, we've had a good start, and it's only a start, like I keep saying, but it's a much better place than we were probably this time 12 months ago.
Without a doubt. And what's your own relationship like with Adam? You know, obviously Adam, you mentioned about recruitment. There's quite a lot of players that Adam's worked with before. So is that something he kind of deals with, or are you part of that process of bringing those players in?
Yeah, we all part of it. We all have a part to play. We all sit down and identify. Obviously, we've got a style of player now, so we need to recruit the right type of players. We can't just go and pick any players and try and put them in a system that doesn't work. If you look at our style of play now, we've identified, we've got player profiles of how players fit into the system that we play and that the manager wants to play. And it's a style of play that everyone wants to come and see. Fans I'm sure they're enjoying it at the minute. We're playing good football. We're dominating games. We're a bit a possession-based team, and we need lads who can handle the ball. And there's different profiles for each position that the manager wants, and the manager's very much part of it. Of course he is, because the players fit his way of playing. I have a great relationship with him, with all the staff. And like I mentioned earlier, if you come down to the training ground, you'll see we all get on and off the pitch. We socialise together. We work together every day, which is so important. Manager can trust us, trust the manager. Everyone's in it together, and it's a real good place to come to work.
You've been a coach, you've been caretaker manager, you've been assistant manager, you're now director of football. How much are you enjoying this role? I'm sure it's quite full on, but how much are you enjoying it in sort of in comparison to the others?
No, I love it. Any role that I've been asked to take at the football club, I've gone in no hesitation, because I want York to do well. Now, I feel like you said, I feel like I've been here a long time now. I feel part of the furniture, and it's a great club. The potential's massive. We've got ambitious owners who are brilliant to work for. Julian and Matt are unbelievable owners. They listen. They want what's best for York City. Really, really good place, but I'm really enjoying it. It's totally different. It's a totally different role to being on the grass every day and coaching and managing, but it's a role that I will give my best. I'll work hard at it like I have done throughout my career. I'd look back on, like you mentioned, my playing career. I look back on that and I maximise that through hard work. And this role will be no different.
I mean, you touched upon this just a few minutes ago, but I was going to say about that. One thing we've probably lacked in recent years is players coming through the academy, and you came through that brilliant production line at Middlesbrough. Is that something you see as a potential sort of untapped opportunity for York City, Ben? And you know, I feel like a lot of under-23s football now doesn't always sort of get players ready for sort of first-team football. How do we kind of bridge that gap?
Yeah, I think it's so important that we do. I'm sure that, like I said, I mentioned the fans there. They want to see homegrown talent. They want to get behind someone. So if we can start producing our own from within, one, it saves us a lot of money. And it's one that everyone's seeing. We've now got a manager in place who has got a track record of producing players, giving young players an opportunity, who have then moved on. And I think we're in a good logistic place to recruit players from mentioned under 23 football. Yeah, they might not be good enough for Leeds, Middlesbroughs, Newcastles, but why can't we get hold of them young and get them into our system and develop our own from within, and we can then bridge that gap of how we get younger players closer to our first team. Obviously, we've got an academy in place, so how do we look at improving that? And all departments will look to improve. That's part and parcel of any football club. Everyone wants to keep improving, like we do with the first team. And that's got to filter down on every department, I think.
And just to sort of finish off, I mentioned to you earlier, sometimes I ask people and I put them on the spot a little bit, but I said to you, who's the best player that you've ever played with and against in your career?
Probably I was lucky, obviously, like you mentioned, my time at Middlesbrough was probably some of the best players. The standouts, probably Gayeska Mendieta was unbelievable footballer, was streets ahead of anyone when he first came to Middlesbrough. Gareth Southgate, who I played alongside, was an unbelievable player. Probably went a bit under the radar, but to play that many times. Stuart Downing, I can't praise Stewie enough. I know he got a lot of stick sometimes at Middlesbrough, which I thought was harsh. I think Stewie was a top player, and to come through an academy and to go on to have the career he had was special. I could name a few, to be honest. I was quite lucky at that Middlesbrough team. George Boateng, Jimmy Floyd-Hasselbank, Mark Viduka was unbelievable. But I'd probably go Jonathan Woodgate was another one who's the top player, but probably Mendieta, I would think, stand out. He was unbelievable.
Didn't mention Janino.
I didn't get a chance to play with him. I trained a couple of times with him. I played in his testimonial at the Riverside that night. That was unbelievable. He was class. But I'd never got the chance to play with him in a first team game. He just left as I was coming through. But he was wow. If you mention his name to any Middlesbrough supporter, they absolutely love him.
And what about against? He was a tough opponent.
The obvious ones, obviously Ronaldo. What he went on to do was scary, really. Probably the toughest was probably Rooney. Played him left wing up against me, and I couldn't get near him. He just stood out wide. He went down one side, played it into Scholes, pinged it out to him, and he was one-on-one with me every single time. I just couldn't get near him. That was a long afternoon, that at the Riverside. I remember that.
Well, Tony, I wish you best of luck this season in your role. And, like you say, it's been a good start. And hopefully, I mean, I think it's a great start, to be fair. I'm going to use the word great because of previous kind of starts of the season. But, hopefully York City can keep it up. And it sounds like the structure in place is really music to the ears of York City supporters. So thank you for all that you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. No, it is. It's in a really good place. The city's buzzing at the minute. The away following is unbelievable at the minute. We've had some long away trips and fans at 400 and 500 people, and there's rail strikes, there's road closures, and they're travelling I think the first four was over 1,700 miles, and they're still turning out in the numbers, and that doesn't go unnoticed. And there's a real togetherness, fans, players, staff, owners. There's a real togetherness, and we all want the same thing as we all want success for York. A great start, I'll use your word. We've had a great start. If you look back on previous years, it is a great start. But it's hopefully the start of something good, and we can all build together, and we can get sellouts at home. Next will be the one. If we could really fill out at home and get everyone behind us, it will be an unbelievable time.